Grand Rising, good people. Hold up. Grand Rising, good people. As you're joining, please make sure that you like. The goal is to get as many different perspectives in the building as possible. Let's make sure that we're feeding the algorithm. Like. Don't have to subscribe yet. Let's just focus on the likes. Appreciate everybody tapping in early. We got some wise words coming in early. Let me turn this music off. Shout out to the big bro Finn. Follow reason wherever it leads. Accept what you cannot change and change what you can. Oh my God. Are we just at a point in life where, or in society, I should say, where the common sense is just hitting that much harder because we're living in this bubble of craziness? Follow reason wherever it leads. Accept what you cannot change and change what you can. The Honorable Marcus Aurelius. All right, we got a true mental calmness is not a passive, lazy state of inaction or apathy, but rather a deliberate, cultivated, and active state of emotional discipline. All right, big bro, you may be in my thoughts. Hold on. I wanted to touch on this, and I wasn't really sure where I was going to go, but I was thinking about it last night, and your quote kind of reminded me of it. Sometimes a lot of the good things or the positive things, however you look at it, that we want out of life, they require ongoing effort, right? And it's the comfort that a lot of times we're seeking, right? Because with stress, of pursuing something every day, working on it, obviously that's going to bring a bunch of stress, or whether it's good stress, bad stress, however you look at it. But whether it's working out, whether it's pushing being a decent human being, all of these things, whether it's working maybe a job, if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want that type of freedom, whatever it is, a lot of the things require an ongoing effort. And a lot of the other things that we talk about from time to time, whether it's an Ozempic approach, not judging anybody, but just is what it is, whether it's an Ozempic approach, all these things that provide us an easier way of doing things compared to the struggle that comes with pursuing it. I don't know if you want to call it the right way, but perhaps the healthiest way, the more natural way, whatever you want to categorize it as. Those ways tend to keep us pushing on a consistent basis, us getting comfortable, becoming comfortable, being uncomfortable. It's an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing battle. I was sitting out on the balcony just thinking about this. Last night before I went to sleep, I was just sitting out on the balcony thinking about this. And it's like, yo, you have to choose these type of things. You can choose to go over there. I guess this is the whole, I never saw The Matrix, so I guess this is the whole, I saw little bits and pieces. This is the whole red versus blue pill, perhaps. You can relate it to a bunch of different things. But to me, it's like, these are the things that you're going to have to consistently work for. These are the things that if you want them to come about the healthiest, the rightest, whatever the right way, however you describe it, you want that freedom. Well, that freedom is going to cost you. Anything that is worth investing in, or anything that is worth, let's say, having a great outcome, you're going to have to put a great investment in. That's just the energy. So true mental calmness is not a passive, lazy state of inaction or apathy, but rather a deliberate, cultivated, and active state of emotional discipline. And the reason why I was thinking about it, because I'm like, damn, well, what's peace then? You know what I'm saying? Like, peace, I guess, is the balance. Peace, I guess, is the balance. We always talk about, you get to a point where, okay, it's easy to just work hard, put your head down, and just say, hey, I'm working all day. I'm not going to enjoy life. I'm not going to do all these things. The hardest part is to balance it. So perhaps that's where the peace comes into play. But there's always going to be a certain amount of struggle for certain things. We're going to have to put in a great investment if we want great returns. Simple as that. Shout out to Abu Han in the building. Shout out to Abu Han in the building. Finn said, hold on, it's 1 p.m. over there, Finn. It's lunchtime in the UK. Appreciate you, man. I love Finn, man. Love all y'all, man. We Abu Han, we got Unc in the building. Hold up, Grand Rising and good morning. We got Romulus tapping in early. We got Omni in the building. Shout out to y'all, man. We got Phyllis. Good morning podcast from San Diego. Oh man, I'm starting up early. Hold up. Let me read it. I ain't even review it. I'm just gonna read it as I see it. God manifested himself as the great Donald Trump, and until he decides to do something different, like go back to running the universe, he shall be our president for life. And hail the great Donald Trump. Hold up. Let me make sure I'm breaking this down right. Hold up. God manifested himself as the great Donald Trump, and until he decides to do something different, like go back to running the universe, he shall be our president for life. All hail the great Donald Trump, man. Unc just clowning. I think Unc just clowning. I don't know. I don't know, man. Good morning, y'all. Shout out to Big Brother Robert. BK, he'll be here. He'll be here in like 5 minutes. He'll be here in a couple minutes. Glay will be here in a couple minutes. He's been having a couple different meetings, so gotta handle his handle first. But he'll be here in a couple minutes. Don't trip. But we have a board of peace now. I heard about this board of peace. I had a couple bookmarks on X that I saved, but I couldn't find a clip that I thought was interesting enough to share on the show. But hopefully over the next couple of days, we'll learn a little bit more. I heard I heard his #1 draft pick for the peace board was Bibi Netanyahu. Is that true? I heard Bibi was the #1 draft pick of Donald Trump's peace board. Is this really a thing? All right, but we have the board of peace now. There should be no more war. There should be no more longer. There should be no more need for weapons. The great Donald Trump, God on earth, said so. Oh my God. Yeah, unclowning. Shout out to Bubbles in the building. All right, so we got a board of peace. Shout out to Boogie Bug. And shout out to Bub. Oh my God. All right, so I mean, Unc, I know we're joking because it's like kind of a bit unbelievable. Like, we don't believe you, man. We don't believe you. But that's just based on his track record. However, is this a good thing? It's not a good thing to me until it actually comes to fruition and actually stands. I'm assuming that it was created in the last couple of days, maybe the last week. So I don't know. I guess we got to ask Bibi for that. We only want to hear from you, Trump. Yo, put your boss on the phone. Put your supervisor on the phone. Like, if you can't do it, then put your supervisor on the phone. I don't even want to waste time. Do you have the ability to execute this? Not just to tell me, do you have the ability to execute this? If not, put your supervisor on the phone. I want to talk to Bibi. That's the energy that I'm on. Shout out to El Relly. I missed yesterday's ending. Come see me in Southern Italy. Hold up, El. We just were looking at I told y'all I always watch like different, like kind of, I don't know what you call them, mood vibes, manifestation type of stuff on TV, on YouTube. So it's usually either something like this with just some music playing behind it. The homes, y'all know I had the homes up there yesterday. And then over the weekend, I was just watching like a long video. It was like a 10-hour video that just had in the background on the Amalfi Coast. So we will definitely maybe tap in. We will definitely be out there. And our family's been trying to come out to Italy for the longest anyway. So, all right, we'll see you soon. Oh man. All right, let's get into some of these videos. Like I said, don't worry. Glay will be here in a sec. He'll be tapping in a sec. But let's take a look at some of these videos in the meantime. We got a couple icebreakers to start it off. We used to start off all the time with the icebreakers, some of the funnier videos. But take a look at this. We got the legendary journalist, award-winning, critically acclaimed. What does that even mean, critically acclaimed? It just sounds like it's the right thing to say. Critically acclaimed Don Lemon. One of the best journalists of our time, somebody that we have the privilege to live during their journalism career. And I want y'all to take a look at this video. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts and we'll go from there. Remember, as you're joining, make sure that you like.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. It's a
Okay.
misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually,
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going.
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not
It's
a
not
crime?
a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal
why
act.
get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
It's just
we
a
have
different
we
level.
have different levels of. No, I shouldn't say crime, but it's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
It's
No,
breaking the law, but it's
you're
just
not
a
breaking the
different
law.
level
The
of
misdemeanor is not
crime.
breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no,
It's a
if you're
misdemeanor.
speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay. Well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics.
Because
But
why
what
would
I'm
you
saying,
get pulled over?
but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is.
Hold up. Yeah. Bro said it's semantics. Yo, this is a journalist. This is a journalist talking to people on the street saying that a misdemeanor is not a crime, going back and forth. It's a lower, like it's a smaller crime, but it's still a crime. But this is who's guiding us, bro. This is who's guiding us. I thought it was just funny.
If you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay. Well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics.
Because
But
why
what
would
I'm
you
saying,
get pulled over?
but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come
Is
over
there a
legally?
law?
Is there a law?
There are rules that are processes that you should follow. Yeah. So you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up.
But it is a good segue to the next video. But yeah, Don Lemon, I don't know what Don's talking about. But this is when you take directions from these type of people, man. Shame on you, bro. If you're taking direction from a guy like Don Lemon, then you deserve everything that comes with it. Like, bro, you are a journalist. You can't just get on TV, get on your YouTube channel. Like, you're looking like an idiot in front of the common people. Like, they're breaking it down, even after they're breaking it down to you, he's still confused. Yeah, it's breaking the law, but it's not a crime. Well, there's different levels of crime, so it is a crime. No, it's not a crime. Look, I love Don. All right, so he did mention another Don. And talking about deportations. Now, this has been obviously a huge topic. When Donald Trump was running for election, this was something that continuously came up, right? The deportations. Donald Trump's energy, from my understanding, was deport everybody. And they said they start with, more of the violent criminals, I guess, from that standpoint. But I remember a huge talking point during this conversation being that everyone is a criminal. If you came here illegally, you committed a crime, and that would be the criminal act, right? So that would make you technically a criminal. However, we've seen Donald Trump change his tune a bit. Now, Don Lemon, I don't know in what exact situation Don Lemon was referring to, but when it comes to Donald Trump changing his tune on deportation, it's hard to say that he's not right. So let's take a look at this next video with Donald Trump. He's speaking at some briefing that they had. We'll take a look at it, get your thoughts on that, because things have changed significantly.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. They said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals.
Let me rephrase. My elite buddies said they need some cheap labor. And I think we talked about this the other day. I think we talked about this the other day. Matter of fact, did we watch? I don't think we watched this clip, but I don't know why we were talking. We were talking about this the other day, so that's kind of why I wanted to play the clip. But I don't think that we played the clip. But this is just another example. This perhaps is just another example of how we can't get caught up in just believing politicians, and we have to stick to the principles of this thing. He can say what he wants, but the tone of when it came to deportations before was a bit different. And it's just the rhetoric that we know that people lean into when they're talking about when they're running for election. We're going to deport this person. They're all criminals. Now it comes to the table where it's like, okay, let's do what makes sense. But can you even trust it when you know he's just doing the bidding for these big farms that have been crying about, oh, well, Americans don't want to work on the farms. In other words, we want to keep our profit margins is what they are. So therefore, we know that if we can bring in these illegal migrants, we can have that cheap labor that elites have always benefited on overall, not to say every single wealthy person wants to take advantage of cheap labor, but that is a thing. It's always been a thing. It's always been a thing. So that's the profit margin that they want to keep. So we'll keep it going. Hold on. We'll keep it going.
And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody. He should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be. But we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers, the mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up. Their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get. They're empty now. But they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from. And every country accepts them. Under Biden, they wouldn't say, they had so little respect that they'd bring them there and they wouldn't take them. They said, get the hell out of here. They would be bringing a plane in to land in a country.
Bottom line is he's just changing his tone. And there's nothing wrong with necessarily changing your tune. Perhaps you should address it. But this is the main thing that I want to take away is that from the conversation of yesterday, a lot of this stuff is just how we go about stuff. We talked about how Barack Obama was known as the deporter in chief. He deported more than Trump. And I was having a conversation with Maya yesterday, and I'm sitting here like, yo, how did he deport more people than Trump? But either I just didn't pay attention to it. We didn't see these type of instances happening on the street. It's like now ICE is masked up, but it seems like they're more of an issue being masked up compared to all the deportations that Barack Obama was able to make without seeing a lot of this stuff. Now, maybe I just wasn't paying attention to it, and that's another issue. Because a lot of times when we are rooting for somebody in office and we like the person that's president, what do we tend to do? We tend to hold them less accountable. It's very easy for us to criticize the person and hold them to certain standards that we don't like. But when it's somebody in office that we like, that says the nice things, that doesn't have the maybe radical rhetoric, or I don't want to say radical rhetoric, just doesn't talk in the tone that Donald Trump talks in, does that make you look at things differently? But I was just sitting back, just from the videos that we were watching yesterday with Tom Homan, and I didn't even know that Tom Homan, like I said yesterday, was his head of ICE. But you just see that it's exactly what Abuhan said. It's all just WWE when it comes to this. It's all just WWE. I was sitting back and even watching Nick Fuentes' show the other day. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, Nick Fuentes is celebrating being canceled. He's celebrating being canceled. And I understood. He's like, oh, I'm standing on business. I'm not going back on it. But then I took a step back and I said, yo, this is no different than Democrats and Republicans. This is no different than two fighters before the fight trying to amp up the fight so they get more ticket sales and then more people watch and they make more money. But then right afterwards, they shake hands and they're best of friends. They understand that it's just a show. The more radical the Democrats get, the more radical the Republicans can get. And you know what? The more radical we, the people, get with us watching the news, with us being willing to spend money. When we get those goofy texts saying that they're raising money and we have 10 more minutes to raise money for Kamala's election, 10 more minutes to raise money for this, whatever it is. They know that they just get us more emotionally involved. This has always been the play, and it will continue to be the play until we no longer allow ourselves to get sold on these emotional fear rhetoric that a lot of them use when it comes to the propaganda or whatever else. It's all just WWE. That's what we're witnessing. That's what we're witnessing, in my opinion. In my opinion. So, a couple other clips. I was trying to wait for BK to start this this conversation around how America was created. I told y'all maybe yesterday or the day before that over the weekend I watched this video. I was just interested in a lot of how America got to this point. I don't think that I took a lot of American history and just global history, of course, when it comes to America. I think it's just subpar. But when I was in school, I didn't take a lot of this American history seriously. And I realized that a lot of this stuff I'm not truly aware of, or I don't do a deep dive into it until a topic actually comes up on it. So even though we have a lot of these discussions about America, colonization, I think it serves us as a great refresher, perhaps for some people, but perhaps it'll be even more enlightening for others about how America was actually created. So we're going to go through that 13-minute video. We got a couple other videos that I'll maybe play for y'all. But perhaps this is, hold on. Maybe before that, because I also got this energy with, I got y'all. Hold on. I got y'all. After this video, we'll get into the America video regardless. But I also got a couple other videos where that I wanted to wait for BK for. So it's that video and then the one on Pastor Joel Webbin. So I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Pastor Joel Webbin. He's actually, I think we may have reviewed one of his videos because he just interviewed Nick Fuentes. He actually calls out the Black church. So we're going to get into that video as well. I haven't seen it, so we're going to unpack it. As y'all see it for the first time, I'll see it for the first time. But before we move on to that, it's like when they're making it easy for the conspiracy theorists. Take a look at this video.
There are very few countries left. By the way, what are we doing with Greenland? We got to do something with Greenland. Where's my advanced team? Go to Greenland. They must have some satellite needs or something that we could do there. But we are coloring the world blue.
It cut off, but he said we're coloring the world blue. It's just, I don't know, man. I wish I had a little bit more context around what exactly the conversation was about. But you got to admit, it is funny. I think this was taken from 2018. Let me actually check. Yeah, this is the 2018 APAC conference. It's like, damn, just when you think, all right, Israel can't have anything to do with Greenland. And maybe they don't. I gotta be honest. As far as the context of this conversation, oh man, that's crazy. I don't know. But this is what happens when you develop a certain reputation and when you're known as the colonizer wherever you are. And you got videos talking about we got to do something with Greenland. Next thing you know, Donald Trump, oh yeah, we need Greenland. So I just thought that was funny. But let's get into this longer video that I was referencing. Let's do a history lesson real quick. Let's go through. I think the video's about 10 minutes long, but I think this will serve as a good pressure for everybody as far as how America was created, how we got to this point. Perhaps we can learn some lessons, how to move forward, not making perhaps the same mistakes, but also understanding why we have the mindset that we have and perhaps how we look at other countries and relationships with other countries as well. So hold on, let me make this big, make sure y'all are seeing it on y'all end. Let's get into it.
America is the richest and most powerful country in history, but America's rise to number one was actually quite unexpected. In fact, most of North America was ignored for more than 100 years after it was discovered. Here's a map that was made right before Christopher Columbus discovered America. The Vikings said they had discovered an island somewhere over here, but no one realized that it was actually a continent. So Columbus believed that he could find a trade route to Asia by sailing west. But actually he found some islands in the Caribbean Sea. Columbus didn't find the spices he was expecting, but he still believed that he was close to India. So he called the natives Indians, got some goodies, and took them back to the King and Queen of Spain.
Hey, your majesties, I just got back from Asia. Great, where are the spices? Well, we haven't found the spices yet, but they've got lots and lots of gold. Now you're talking, Columbus. Go back, tell them all to be Christians, and bring back that gold.
A few years before Columbus claimed the West Indies for Spain, the Portuguese had discovered that they could reach Asia by sailing around Africa. So Spain and Portugal drew a line right down the middle of the map, and they agreed that all the non-Christian lands on this side of the line would belong to Portugal, and everything on the other side would belong to Spain. So the Portuguese sailed to Asia and built a huge trading empire, and the Spanish got busy conquering their half of the world.
I had no idea of this to this extent as far as a line being drawn, separating the hemispheres. You got Spain and then Portugal. Just wasn't aware of it.
All of the interesting parts of the Americas were down here, where there was lots of gold, silver, and people. So that's where the Spanish went. Actually, the Spanish also sent an expedition into North America in 1539, but they didn't find gold and silver, so they mostly ignored all these useless lands up here in North America. The English actually sent an explorer to North America while the Spanish were still exploring the islands in the Caribbean. That was 16 years before the Spanish discovered Florida. But after that, the English waited almost 100.
Hold on. And this is the problems that I have with a lot of this. Think about if you're viewing this as a young kid, or think about if you're just viewing this as somebody that's grown up in America with all the American indoctrination through the education system. They just said that the Spanish discovered Florida. Just think about what that does to our mental when we hear that, like, as if there was nobody there. That's the mindset that a lot of us have. That the disagreement that we had in the beginning of the last show, that's the type of energy that this breeds. Oh, well, you know, we could just take it. We're more powerful. They don't have the same culture that we have. I mean, what country does have the exact same culture that the other one has? But that was the justification. And now we need to just create this narrative that they're savages, they're beasts, they're all these different things. So therefore, it'll be justified amongst the people as well. But this is the mindset. This, matter of fact, this is why when we have this conversation talking about, you know, Israel and, you know, criticizing Israel, a lot of the energy perhaps should be extended back to us, because it may be a lot more similar than we initially thought. When we talk about Israel and the Palestinians coming back to their homes after they return after the war, and they have different locks on their doors, some of the people that they actually took in now took over their homes. Yeah, we discovered this. Imagine somebody coming where you already have a house and saying, hey, yeah, this is how it was discovered. And this is just another example of how the victor writes history. So the majority of our history, if we can think about two people, I think we did we talk about this on the show yesterday? About two people, if they get into a fight with each other, you hear from one person what they're going to say, and you hear from another person. That's how history has been told. We've just had history that has been told from one perspective. So perhaps the mayor of Miami Beach, perhaps he'll have an issue with that, since he seems to, that was the whole conversation that we had yesterday with the mayor of Miami Beach running down on somebody's home who actually happened to be a former, what were they, in the Navy or the National Guard? I think they were the National Guard, the lady Raquel, simply because she called out the mayor for trying to get rid of a movie theater in Miami because they played a documentary that was created by Israeli and Palestinian journalists to detail the demolition of a lot of the homes in Palestine. But they said it was one-sided, so that's why he was trying to get rid of the movie theater. What in history is told to us that's not one-sided? See, the problem is when it came to Miami Beach, no, you're just being held accountable. You're actually just trying to censor something because you want to push your one-sided agenda, your one-sided narrative. And when somebody actually checks it, that's what you have an issue with. So we have to approach when it comes to history and our understanding of it through a lens that, hey, you know, we're only being told this through a certain group of people who want us to see it in a certain type of way. So let's keep going. Not to play victim, but just for us to have an understanding that, hey, this may not have gone the exact way that it was taught to us.
Mostly ignored all these useless lands up here in North America. The English actually sent an explorer to North America while the Spanish were still exploring the islands in the Caribbean. That was 16 years before the Spanish discovered Florida. But after that, the English waited almost 100 years before they tried to colonize America. England's first colony was established at Roanoke, North Carolina in 1585. But the same year, England got busy fighting a war with Spain, and that colony mysteriously disappeared. So they tried again at Jamestown, and this time it worked. Next, the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth. The Pilgrims were strict Christians who outlawed bad stuff like gambling and celebrating Christmas. Soon lots and lots of people were coming to America, and before long, the East Coast was covered with British colonies. Meanwhile, the French were busy claiming all of the land in the middle of North America. Now it's 1754, and it's time for a war to figure out who really owns what in America. New France has a population of about 60,000 people, so they team up with some Indian tribes to help them fight. That's why it's called the French and Indian War. The British colonies have a population of more than 1 million people, and they also team up with some Indian tribes. Who do you
Did y'all know that both groups had teamed up with Indian tribes? That's something that I may have been, I'm sure, or I can't say I'm sure that I was taught it, but I thought that was an interesting thing that I'm not sure that when I recall it, I definitely wasn't thinking that. If you asked me that question on the test, I'm not sure that I would have just said, oh yeah. Just something interesting, but
population of more than 1 million people, and they also team up with some Indian tribes. Who do you think won? That's right, the British beat the French. At the same time, there was also a big war back in Europe, and when it was over, it was time to redraw the map. France gave half of Louisiana to Spain before the war was over to make sure Britain didn't get it. Then, after the war, France had to give the other half of Louisiana to Britain. France also had to give Canada to Britain. Now Britain had lots of land in America, but
y'all can't tell me that this doesn't give Greater Israel vibes. So when we're critical of Israel, what are we really being critical of? Are we just understanding like, hey, we know we did this in the past, but hey, y'all shouldn't be doing it? What are we really being critical of? All of these exchanges that they're talking about, you got you got the homie with the money out, all of these exchanges of land that they're talking about. Remember, while we're watching this video, there are people on the land. There are people already here. Now, that may not mean anything to anybody. That may not mean anything to anybody. I'm not saying that it has to, but I just want us to remember, because as they're discussing it, they're talking about, well, they sold this land, they sold this land. How are you selling something that's not even yours? How are you selling something that's not yours? But maybe that's not an issue.
get it. Then, after the war, France had to give the other half of Louisiana to Britain. France also had to give Canada to Britain. Now Britain had lots of land in America, but Britain had also spent...
And Romulus said, don't make me sympathetic with Israel. I'm just calling a spade a spade. I'm just calling a spade a spade. And I'm really not even trying to have an energy where it's like, oh, I hate America. America's so terrible. That's not the energy. The energy is that, when we see the world through a particular view, when we make comments like, oh yeah, it's cool, we could just take Venezuela. Why not? Somebody else is going to take it. We could just take Greenland. Why not? Oh, well, if they could do it to us, they would. When we start justifying things like that, there's a reason why we see the world the way we see it. There's a reason why we have that perspective. And a lot of it is based on our history of how America was created, perhaps. Maybe that was always the colonizing energy. Think about it. You just had Portugal and Spain split up the world and say, hey, you take that half. We can run through this half. We'll go conquer that half. We'll go conquer it. Got to recognize the energy.
lots of money on the war, and now they needed money.
Hey, colonies, you know that expensive war we helped you win? Yeah, thanks for the help. Sure, no problem. By the way, we're going to start collecting lots and lots of taxes to pay for all the help we give you. What? You never help us. We're the ones who are always helping you. And how can you tax us if we don't get to vote?
Bro, this sounds very similar. I swear I wasn't even thinking this when I was actually going through the video the first time. Just how many different similarities there are. What do we talk about a lot of times when it comes to Israel? We don't want our tax dollars going over there. We don't want to be paying for this. And then each side acting like, no, we benefit from that relationship with Israel. We benefit. That's why we send them our tax dollars. Meanwhile, a lot of Americans are sitting here saying like, nah, we don't benefit. We only benefit based on what? Getting intelligence from other countries in that region? Well, we wouldn't need the intelligence in that region if we weren't constantly at war with that region for Israel. So there's just a lot of connections here. So I'm just calling it out. I'm just calling it as I see it. This is just a history lesson. Don't get mad at me. I'm just looking at the history lesson.
We're the ones who are always helping you. And how can you tax us if we don't get to vote?
The colonists weren't happy with.
We got Glay in the building. Hold on. We got to take time. We got Glay in the building. Glay, good meeting.
Yeah, man. Good solid meeting, man.
So we just going through the history of America. This was a dope video. This is the one I was telling you about that I was watching over the weekend, as far as just getting an understanding or a refresher maybe. But as I thought I was refreshing myself on a lot of stuff, I'm like, damn, I'm not sure that I picked up on that in history class. Certain things, yeah. So just how this thing has all been happening, and how it's always been this type of colonizing mindset when it came to America, like buying and selling stuff that you don't even own. But we'll keep going.
And how can you tax us if we don't get to vote?
The colonists weren't happy with the new taxes, and the disagreement turned into a fight, and from a fight into a revolution. On the 4th of July, 1776, the Americans declared their independence from Great Britain, and that was the beginning of the United States of America, right? Not quite. It would be 5 more years before the Americans won their War of Independence. And after they had won their freedom, they had a new problem. The government they had created was a complete mess. The 13 colonies.
Real quick, because I'm seeing in the comments saying, I saw Mama Lay said, Unc, it's the end of the world. And Unc said, no, it's not the end of the world, but it's the beginning of a new world order. That is what they were talking about years ago when they were talking about the New World Order. Interesting. Shout out to Jamie tapping in. Venezuela was selling oil to China, as I understand it. That compromises our security with BRICS against us. Yeah, and I'm glad we're having these conversations. So Venezuela was selling oil to China. How much oil was Venezuela selling to China? Because I've heard this a lot as well, Jamie. I've heard this a lot. But then actually, Nick Fuentes was the one that broke this down. And even though he supports us going after Venezuela, he was saying, as far as it regarding China, that they actually they get a super small percentage of their oil from Venezuela. However, it's been marketed to us as if, hey, China's getting a whole bunch of their oil from Venezuela. So therefore, that's why that can eventually become a threat to us. And does that even make it justified? Even if China was getting a whole lot of oil from Venezuela, you're cool with us just going in there and just taking over Venezuela. Even if it was that. But then when you actually look into the numbers, it's exposed in a way where it's like, hey, this is just what's being marketed to us. We do realize that they have to sell us on all of these wars, all of these different things that happen around the world. This politicians are just salespeople. So just like when you're going in to buy a used car, do you take everything that the used car dealer says as hey, this is the 100% truth? Or do you kind of like, I don't know, I'm a little skeptical on that. Clearly they're trying to sell me this.
Yeah,
Clearly,
you taught me that. Taught me that, Glad. You taught me that.
As far as what?
If somebody getting paid, be careful.
Yeah, I'm getting paid. You think, bro, when I'm going around selling these Stryker products, bro, I know this product is weaker than that Arthrex product. But hey, Doc, I don't get paid off of that Arthrex product. So, I'm using some of the disadvantages to act like advantages. Like, oh yeah, this is manual. You know, this ain't an automatic thing. This is manual, so you get more control, like a stick. You know, like I'm like, wait here, man. I'm like, bro, like, what you mean, bro? Give me the automatic one. Like
selling the shit out that thing.
Yeah, but it's like, hey, I got what I got. I only got what's in my bag. All right, let's keep it moving. But the question I wanted to ask y'all, besides that, but going back to what Unc and Mama Lay were talking about, how do y'all feel? Are y'all positive about the future? Because I still think that I'm not on that Patrick Bet David thing. The future looks bright. The future looks bright for people like Patrick Bet David, but we got different principles. You know what I mean? The future looks bright, I think, for him for different reasons, but I still think that there's going to be a new change, and perhaps that is the new world order that Unc is talking about. But Mama Lay, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I know you said that I would never say that. I'm just asking a question as far as, are you optimistic about where the future of our country, society, the world, where it goes? Glay, are you optimistic about it?
Damn, Glad. You know, I want to be on here and I want to lie and tell y'all niggas, yeah, but I'm going to keep it a beam. I don't know how. It's not that I don't believe. I just can't conceptualize what it's going to take to get to that change that we want, to raising the standards for us to be ethical more. I'm not here to join the crowd that says, nah, we ain't getting there. I ain't devoted to that yet. When I get there, I'll be sure to let y'all niggas know. Right now, I'm moving forward with cautious because I'm trying to identify where the solution is. And that's where I'm at.
And I want to make sure I quoted Mama Lay correctly. She said it's not the end of the world. Did I say the opposite?
Yeah, you did say the opposite. Now,
oh, my apologies. My apologies. That's why I was like, hold on, I want to correct that. No. Okay, so yeah, Mama Lay said it's not the end of the world. But I want to ask y'all, like, and I should have caught that because Mama Lay, that's just not her personality, not her energy that she speaks from. So, and we were actually having a conversation last night about this exact thing. However, that is a question that a lot of us should ask. Glay, you're not optimistic about it. You think that it's going to be what? More wars, nuclear type of stuff back and forth?
Damn, it's not that I'm not optimistic. I just don't see what maybe somebody who is optimistic sees at this point in time right now. That make more sense? Like I want, if I was to say I am, it would be off faith.
It would be a blind faith.
Yeah, it would be a blind faith.
It would be blind faith compared to, I don't see the play, but all right, I believe
I'm with
y'all.
the play
Right.
once y'all identify it, but I don't see the play that y'all may have seen. I haven't seen the play yet.
And I think that's very strategic because think about it. I feel like that's always been used, like that fear of the unknown, why people may not jump out and do certain things in their life, why people may feel like, well, shoot, slavery's a choice, you know, like, or slavery wasn't a choice. I had no, you know what I mean? Just as far as a mindset, I think that that's what is strategically used, where they'll make it seem like this is the only option.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't even see what it looks like to move in a positive direction. So in your mind, you just throw up your arms and say, whatever. I talk to certain people where it's like, yo, why don't we just not vote this particular election? And then we can show people that they need to value our votes and that we're willing to just not vote until y'all actually do certain things beforehand, rather than when y'all are running, making promises that we never see come to fruition. But what does everybody say? Well, you ain't gonna get everybody to do that. You ain't gonna be able to get everybody on board to do that because they can't see the vision. Some people got to see it. Somebody and be able to damn near grab it for them to lean into it.
And those are and see, that's why I believe everybody got to play their role. So when it comes to this, if I ain't got the vision, then somebody else need to be in front, need to be leading the pack per se. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm still going to, if this is a group project, nigga, I'm still tapped in. What y'all need me to do? Mm-hmm. But I'm just letting you know, I can't tell y'all what y'all need to do.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So let me be an assistant role. Let me support. I'm spinning, but y'all may have to tell me where to go spin at is where I'm at with it.
You gotta be aimed in the right, and there's nothing wrong with that. And perhaps we need more of that energy on board.
Yeah.
Perhaps we need more of that energy on board.
Yeah, just like being okay with not being that, you know, you ain't gotta lead everything, nigga. You just, if you know the cause, then my faith in to an extent, and you say opposite of this, but you'll say like don't really have blind faith per se. And it's just like, well, look, if I don't know where the vision is at, then I'm going to lean into my visionaries. I'm going to lean into the people that speak to the sound or the tone or the vision that that they see the big picture that I want to see. Also, God made it, you know, whoever made it gave them the vibes, the salt. So I'm gonna just lean into what their vision is because they might got that salt. Because there's sometimes in situations where I got the vision. Give me the ball. Fourth quarter, I got it. And I made Kobe this thing like, yo, I got it. But sometimes you got to be okay with just playing that supporting role and letting Kobe do that thing. And I do think sometimes people's ego or other things allow people to rather just say, well, if I don't personally have the vision per se, then I'm gonna just sit on the bench versus, nah, nigga, if he got the vision, like run it up. I've heard that terminology when they're like, they say like in the hood, there was a movie I was watching. They were like, dog, if your man's is closer to the hoop or to making his shot, help him get up first. He'll come back and get you. So if you ain't close to it, right? Like if me and you, let's just say me and you want to be both podcasters and we want to light it up and be rich as hell. If Dak closer, nigga, push Dak. Nigga, Dak could come back, nigga. Somebody gotta go. Somebody gotta go. You out? Or
no, I'm good. No, but
let me know.
You 100% right.
That's how I feel. So if you closer to the goal, nigga, if the soccer go right there, bro, if my little contribution can get you that, that's a win for me. And if he double back, bet. But if he don't, shit, nigga, it is what it is. I didn't have the vision yet. So sometimes if you have the vision first and you're in position, assist somebody to get there too, you'd be surprised that people to double back and come get you. But look, they're not obligated to as well too. So be open. But me, I enjoy putting people in position. I like supporting. I've always been a person that, look, I like to lead when I need to lead. But look, man, I ain't got no problem taking a back seat in the next two, bro. I let people get in their bag, bro. So it's just like people got to be okay with that. And I saw a clip on TikTok the other day where I don't know, it could be cap, but Chick-fil-A worker called ICE on one of the employees on some BS shit. The energy getting crazy. Like Karen 10X is here now. Like the Karens are outside now. So she called on one of the employees. Nigga, the Chick-fil-A employees found out. And then the people at the the neighborhood and the people around that city boycotted the fucking Chick-fil-A. Nobody's there.
Well, what are we talking about? All that protest don't mean nothing unless you're taking dollars out of people's pockets, bro.
And you just said that. He's like, when we gonna, like, bro, if we gonna spend, why don't we work together? That's a good question. Like, damn, if our power, if we could just show symbolic situations when we can come together like that to represent one of our people, like in that situation, I'm like, damn, imagine if we ran that play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where we just like, oh, that's what y'all on? Bet, fuck y'all. We ain't off that. You're going to force these people's hands. But I wonder what's in it for the people that do need to pull up to that Chick-fil-A. Like, what makes you not want to buy into what the team on? What makes it about you getting that number one that's more important than the message?
Yeah, there's different reasons. I don't know why this reminds me of it, and I may just dead it after I say it because I'm not sure it connects. But there's different reasons why people don't like groups like Black Lives Matter, bro. Whenever you can organize people, like the reason why I can't stand Black Lives Matter, maybe a totally different reason than the majority of people don't like Black Lives Matter. But people, whenever you show people how to organize and unite on something, it creates a threat to taking away money from a particular organization, industry, things of that nature. That's a threat that people can't afford to have. You know, even what we were touching on when it comes to segregation, desegregation yesterday. I don't want to necessarily go down that conversation, but, you know, it's kind of just that thought process. Yeah. And you mentioned certain things like a family approach. That's what it should be, in my opinion. I've heard and seen different stories on Instagram where, let's say, one person, let's say there's a conference, a real estate conference, and you got 3 or 4 of your boys, but maybe only y'all can afford for one ticket. Y'all put together the bread, send your mans, and then your mans come back, give the rest of the knowledge to everybody else. But we don't think about it from that mindset. We don't think about it from that mindset. But I know who does think about it from that mindset. That's why I say, like, we can criticize certain groups all we want. But at the end of the day, we better learn from some of these groups.
Yeah, they don't all Yup. They don't all go down the same path trying to win the same race. These motherfuckers go run all different races and then they come back and then split the pie. That's what I want us to get back. So we talk about that with a lot of cats. We know a couple cats that we said, damn, y'all niggas didn't double back.
Yeah.
Y'all niggas hit and y'all didn't. Okay, bet. I'm not tripping. You're not obligated to.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that naturally doesn't come. It's natural for me to be like, get a loaf of bread and want to split it. You know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes to education, nigga, that don't even cost nothing.
No.
That shit is free. Can you believe that everybody is not? I was actually driving this morning back to the crib and thinking about it. I'm like, it's mind-blowing to me how many small businesses fail within the first year. What is it, like 70, 80, 90%?
Something crazy, yeah.
Something wild like that. And that bothers the fuck out of me because of all those people that actually build successful businesses. How the fuck do you let the people that are willing to put their nuts on the table and give it a try and an attempt, and y'all not give them the education so they don't lose when they're already willing to show you they're willing to take the risk? So you successful small business people allow 90% of people to fail? Y'all don't double back and give the game away for free. Y'all got to mentorship everything. You got to mastermind everything. You got to charge everything. Nigga, y'all just can't give this shit away so another family can eat too.
But what's the mindset? What are we looking at on the screen right now? In order for me to give, in order for me to get something, I feel like I got to take it from somebody else. That's the energy. That's the mindset. It's not, we don't live in that godly mindset of, actually how energy works is the more good I do for people, the more good that comes back to me. So even from a selfish standpoint, it makes sense, but that's just not the mindset that we've adopted. And I wanted to get back to even with the walking by faith. You know what? I wish that it was almost instead of faith, walk by principles, bro. Because when you walk by principles, I think that guides you to certain people or certain opportunities that you may be able to use in order to push your principles. You know what I'm saying? So walking by faith doesn't actually break down, well, what exactly is the faith? Like, no, if I walk by my principles, that's going to serve as a guardrail. Like, oh, my principles are this. So does that person that I like align with my principles? Oh, no, they don't. All right, so I can't go over there. Oh, that person that I don't like or didn't think that I liked, do they align? Oh, damn, they align with my principles. All right, I'll go over there. Oh, wait, but that was only yesterday. Today I'm aligning over here. It allows us to bounce back and forth because this is not no straight path when it comes to this. We got to always pivot nonstop, figure out different ways. But if we're always keeping sight of their principles, it's the compass. Like we know we're moving in that North Star direction. That's the principles. You know what I'm saying? Rather than a person, rather than a politician, rather than a celebrity, all these other things. So walking by faith, it doesn't necessarily, it's not intentional enough for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it doesn't,
that's a very,
I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
but not clear.
It's not clear.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Two things. Your mic ain't on.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's I'm not hearing that that late night.
Reset it today. See, Clay?
Yeah, there you go. You ain't have that late night V103 voice.
We did an hour of basic mic.
Yeah. And then second,
talking into the mic all come on.
That's how that should be getting mine. And then second of all, you're right, and I'm gonna give you an example of that. I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible, but I was having this conversation the other day because we trying to, I'm trying to get something down there, right? Remember I told you something down there by you, and you know how the realtors work down there, right? So obviously, the realtors work commission, et cetera, et cetera. And I tapped in with Mo because I know Mo, I know, damn, I'm dropping names and shit. I tapped in with, boy, because I know him personally. Yeah. But when I was trying to get my peoples, I was trying to get my peoples to tap in. Mo had made a couple of mistakes on accident, but you know what it was? He was, he made a couple of mistakes, but he was honest. And I was like, I can fuck with just an honest, I text the wrong numbers type shit. Yeah. But the other individual that my man's was working with didn't make mistakes, but was giving him what he wanted to hear. So, I can get you this, or I can get you that, or you know, you don't have to pay this pet fee, or saying the things I wanted somebody who wanted to hear. And so when we went through the whole process trying to establish, all right, what's the play? Turns out the guy that was giving you what you wanted to hear was the guy that was selling your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was honest about the mistakes, who wasn't trying to sell you, was the guy that we didn't lean into.
Yeah.
So when you say what you just said, you got to lean into the principles.
Yeah.
Well, when he made a mistake, he owned up and was honest about it. That's a principle.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I can lean into this individual because at the end of the day, if money is involved, he's willing to be honest. But the other individual was capped, and you know how that shit works in Miami. They'll post discounted places to funnel you in, and they become your realtor. And so
it's wild.
It's a wild, wild west there.
Oh yeah, I like that. Da-da-da. And then you want to schedule your own. I already got a real estate. Well,
yeah.
And then they'll tell you, oh well, nah, I can't. You know, all right, you could tell them to reach out. You know what I'm saying? I'm yeah,
exactly. So I started picking up, like, you go on TikTok, you seeing lost for this rate, that rate. You like, damn, nigga, I can afford everything down there. Then you realize it's just a finesse to funnel people into joint. And then what I end up realizing is I end up even in real time catching myself. I said, here we are leaning to what we want it to be versus leaning to the person we know who's just being honest. So I'm picking and choosing when I want to hear honesty. So that's not the way we can do this. We need to go with where the honesty is. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you're saying. Not by faith, because when you going by faith, a nigga will tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go by principles where I know him, I've experienced him, I know you work with him, we've been through, I said, that's where you got to lean, regardless if it's not what you want to hear. Follow the principle. A person who's following principles, then we wouldn't have wasted a month, an application fee and all this other stuff just for a nigga to say, oh, they got another offer on this shit, Kevin. Nah, he really just ran a play to get you to fill out the app. He ran a play. It made you feel like there were other people offering on a property. In hindsight, that property didn't exist. It was a funnel to get you to become his realtor. And now he's talking about getting you to look for other places for him, when I'm sitting back like, nigga, that's the play. And I didn't see that. So like you said, you can't go by the faith because everybody ain't playing the same game. And especially when there's money involved, people gonna tell you exactly what they want to tell you. And like you said, the striker shit and all that, nigga, if they getting a check, just put your wall up.
Mm-hmm.
Lean into the people in their community, the circles, and like you say, them boys operate like that. They don't go over there just because you tell them what they want. They go to the people on the list behind the scenes. You go to this doctor, you go to this dentist, you go to this bank, you go to all this stuff, and you build your network, and you only feed your network. So that's another, that was an example, like I said, that just went through. I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, you right. You got to lean into the principles of this shit. And you got to lean into people that continue to lean into their principles, et cetera, or you're going to find yourself blindly following some faith. And then you look up, you like, damn, nigga, I'm in a cult, or I'm in some bullshit that I shouldn't be a part of. And you like, damn, I was just trusting niggas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's wild is, in a perfect world, the faith is supposed to represent the principles.
You're right.
That's what it's supposed to represent. But because things have gotten so watered down, where it's like, it's like, well, what does that even mean? Like, we look at it, and especially when people are such entitled, when we talk about these easy times, faith to a lot of people is just, oh, I believe in God, so therefore I'm good. No, well, there's certain principles that it says we're supposed to live by, though. That's what the faith is supposed to be. You're not just walking around blind, just bumping into certain things. No, it's very clear what the faith is. And the faith is just comprised of a bunch of principles that we're supposed to live by. But I think I don't think we're mature enough to understand that when we hear, and I'm talking about society overall, when we hear just walk by faith, we kind of, in my eyes, I'm seeing somebody like, walking like this around. No, if anything, that should open up things even more, make them even clearer, because, hey, it's right here. We don't even got to think about it. Principles right here. So,
nigga, you tapped in, bro.
That's just how I'm looking at it, bro.
You know what the fuck going on, bro.
We all do that. That's what we said with 2026. Hold up. I realized. Hold up. Come on, man. Yeah. All right, there we go.
Yeah, you tapped in. For you to even just say what you just said, nigga, 1 out of 1,000 people are not going to be able to explain that definition of what faith should be, but what faith is, the way you just clearly depicted that lesson right now.
Yeah,
that's
how I'm seeing it right now, because that's just how I think about it. Like, well, why did I have a problem with walk by faith? Like, it's because we weren't actually walking by the faith is. Yeah, so we on the same page.
Yeah,
we on the same page. All right, let's keep going with this. Let's keep going with the history lesson.
Before the Americans won their War of Independence. And after they had won their freedom, they had a new problem. The government they had created was a complete mess. The 13 colonies had essentially become 13 independent countries that were only united in name. The new nation was failing, and it was failing fast. So the Founding Fathers wrote a new constitution and created an entirely new federal government that actually worked. The new constitution became official when 9 states had ratified it. And in 1789, George Washington was elected the first president of the United States. But the USA was only this big, and all the land over here belonged to Spain. So how did America get more land? Well, over in France, a guy named Napoleon seized power and started conquering Europe.
Oh, Napoleon
also wanted to build an empire in America, so he made a deal with Spain that would give Louisiana back to France. But the Americans needed to use the Mississippi River to send goods to and from other places, and they were afraid of what Napoleon might do if he controlled the river. So America asked France to sell New Orleans to them.
You know my plans for a great empire in North America. But now I must invade Britain. We can build our empire in America after we defeat the British. But if the Americans discover our plans for America, they will support Britain, which could be fatal. But if we sell Louisiana to the Americans, they will be our friends forever, and Britain will be ours. It would be foolish to sell our largest territory, and the Americans only want New Orleans. Enough! I've made up my mind. We will sell it all. The money will fund our war with Britain.
And so America bought Louisiana for $15 million. America had just doubled in size, and that was good because America's population was also almost doubling every 20 years. In those days, the average American family had 7 children, and all those kids needed some place to live. So lots of Americans moved west, where there was lots and lots of unclaimed land.
Does anyone own this land? Of course not. Great, because now it's mine. But these lands, my hunting grounds. That's not proper English. You're supposed to say, these lands were my hunting grounds.
In 1819, America bought Florida from Spain and agreed that this line right here would be the border between the United States and New Spain. Just 2 years later, Mexico won its independence from Spain, and America had a new neighbor. The northern territories of Mexico were sparsely populated and difficult to control, so the Mexican government invited Americans to settle in Texas. These settlers quickly outnumbered the Mexicans, and before long, the Texans broke free from Mexico and created their own independent republic.
Yeehaw! We want to join the USA. Do you have slaves? Yes, we do, and we're proud of it. Sorry, we don't need any more slave states.
Hey guys, I'm president now, and this is ours. In 1845, the United States changed its mind and let the Republic of Texas join the Union. Disputes over the border of Texas led to a war with Mexico. At the end of the war, the United States paid Mexico $15 million and took the northern parts of Mexico that President Polk wanted. Just 5 years later...
Real quick, Glay, it's crazy to think that this has all happened within 200 years.
That's a lot.
Like right now, 1853. And when we're young, that seems like so long ago. But when we look at like,
you put 30 or 40 under your belt, you like, man, this shit.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no, that's crazy to think. And that, have you seen that Napoleon? I'm pretty sure you told me you watched it. Napoleon. It's on Netflix.
A TV show?
Oh no, it's a movie. It's about Napoleon, who was doing all the wars.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, y'all got to tap in. It's good. It breaks that.
Netflix. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, it's either Netflix or Apple TV or movie, whatever.
And it's a movie. It's a movie. You said Napoleon movie.
Yeah,
2023. It says it came out.
Yeah, it's dope. It breaks down him. It's just this little dude who just basically be on some fuck it. I'm taking everything. I'm going to war with everyone and just be taking and taking and taking and taking. But it's so interesting because he don't be in none of the fights. He just be directing the niggas to go spin.
Just the finesse.
So he gets labeled as the guy, but all he ever did was sat back and told niggas to go run into a burning house.
BB Netanyahu. Let me stop.
Okay, John said he tapped in. It's Apple TV. Yup.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch that joint. It's good. It break down like all the little places he won, and what he was fighting, and when he wanted to take over this and the wars and shit. I might actually go watch it again, but he's one of the most like quote unquote famous people to kind of be
the great. Like you hear,
we glorify those people, but then we at the same time tell them to condemn those people at the same time.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving.
And took the northern parts of Mexico that President Polk wanted. Just 5 years later, the United States also bought another piece of land from Mexico for $10 million. Meanwhile, the British agreed to let the Americans have all of the Oregon Territory below this line, as long as the British could have everything above the line. And so, in just 50 years of great luck and one ugly war with Mexico, America now stretched from sea to sea. And now there was nowhere left to expand, unless...
Hello, Uncle Sam. I found an island in the middle of the ocean. Can I claim it for the U.S.? We might need that for World War II. Does anyone live there? No, sir. Is it covered in bird droppings? Yes, sir. Congratulations, son. You're standing on U.S. soil. Actually, sir, I wouldn't call this soil.
By the way, the Guano Island Act is still a law, so if you're tired of paying way too much for rent, go find yourself an island to occupy. Wow, everything is great. Right after the Americans got California, word spread...
Oh, what'd they say? That was still available? Hold up.
If you don't want to pay no taxes, what?
Yeah, I'm over here. Hold up. Why did the volume cut out? Hold on.
Guano Island Act is still a law, so if you're tired...
I wouldn't call this soil.
By the way, the Guano Island Act is still a law.
The Guanto Island Act? Anybody familiar with that? The Guanto Island Act?
So if you're tired of paying way too much for rent, go find yourself an island to occupy. Wow, everything is great. Right after the Americans got California, word spread that gold had been discovered, and lots of people rushed to California to help dig up the gold. Up in the Oregon Territory, there was lots of free farmland. America was thriving and there was peace on all sides. But there was a big problem on the inside, and that was the problem of slavery. In northern states, slavery was illegal, and many considered it to be a great evil that must be stopped. In the South, slavery was an important part of the economy. The Americans had been arguing about slavery for decades, but everything came to a head when Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Many people in the South believed that Lincoln would abolish slavery, so most of the slave states separated from the United States and made their own country. That led to a big civil war. Lots of people died, the North won, the slaves were freed, and the United States was united again.
I'm sorry to hear about the assassination of President Lincoln. Yeah, another assassin tried to kill me on the same night, but I survived the stabbing. That's terrible. I mean, it's terrible that you were stabbed, but I'm glad that you survived. By the way, the Tsar wants America to have Alaska. How much can you pay for it? I think we could do 5 million, maybe 5.5 million, but not more. How about 7 million? Sure. Great. I have approval for 7 million. We can make the treaty tomorrow. Can we do it tonight? I should have asked for more money.
Great. Now America has another huge chunk of land. Now it just needs a few tropical islands. Hey, look at that! Some American businessmen have taken control of the Hawaiian Islands, and they're asking the United States to annex them. But the President of the United States said no. He believed that America must be a just and law-abiding nation that never misuses its great power to take advantage of the weak. But others feared that if America didn't get involved in the affairs of Hawaii, another great power like Germany or Japan would come and take the islands and use them as a base to attack America in a future war.
This is when the bullshit started.
That this is exactly what we do. This is the whole Greenland argument.
It's still it's the same process.
Argument. Hold on, I want to run it back because who did they say was president?
That bigger dude. Yeah, I didn't see who that was. Grover Cleveland.
Grover Cleveland.
Okay.
And we got to look into Grover Cleveland. Like he was a real one. It sound like.
Yeah, he was tapped in a little bit.
Hold up, Grover Cleveland. Let me make note of that. We're gonna look into that because that's yeah. Imagine him having that energy during that time too.
Yeah, but it seemed like a lot of people. Would you say that politics had been tainted yet, or like it seemed like, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people were fighting for humanity and respect and equality and all these different things?
What you mean?
Like when, like you think about like the Civil War, like half, obviously the southern states wanted to continue slavery, but like there was still a giant group of the North who didn't want that. So it just seemed like a lot of things were a little bit more balanced versus now we automatically be like, what the government said? Okay, we know it's some bullshit. Now we got to figure out what the truth is. Versus back then, it seemed like it's a split decision. It was very obvious that maybe Abraham Lincoln wasn't going for it, but like the people that didn't believe in the mismanagement of money or neglect of people or the oppression spoke just as loud as the people who were for the bullshit.
Yeah, see, I look at I understand what you're saying. I kind of see it a different way because even with the Civil War, I've always looked at it in different ways, like depending on where I am as far as like my understanding on history. But where I am right now, and this may change, is I almost look at it like how the issue of migration, which is, why a lot of Democrats, they wanted to bring in a lot of illegal migrants, right? That was their thing. Why? Because eventually that will be a voting class that if they come in and they get all these social programs that are more liberal leaning, then who are they going to end up voting for? Who are they going to feel that they have an allegiance to? So when I look at the Civil War, I don't look at it as if, hey, there was just some people in the North and they thought slavery was just the cruelest thing. So therefore we have to stand up against it. Even though I'm super appreciative of people shedding blood, you know what I'm saying? In America's bloodiest war, I believe, even though I'm super appreciative of them stepping up and fighting and that being one of the causes, I also got to take a step back and understand the context of the situation where I believe that if slaves were going to be counted as slaves, right? Or how can I put it? See, I think that it's more of a numbers game as far as I never looked at it as if it was just something that was being done for a moral cause. And let me actually look this up. Hold on.
I feel like you kind of leaning into what Ellie's saying because she says they needed slaves to come north for the factories.
Slaves to come north. Well, I think it was more about representation, and maybe somebody can give a little bit more insight on this, and I may be completely off. That's why I wanted to look it up, but I'll just share it with y'all before I look it up. But what I'm getting ready to look it up is, was there some issue with representation as far as if the slaves were counted as people, then that means they would have to be given votes or something?
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it was more of a power play.
Okay.
Which you realize that I think that's why they separated, because it was more about a power play. And I don't think that it was moral reasons why they didn't want slavery. I thought it was more so about representation reasons.
Okay.
But I may be off when it comes to that.
That makes sense. And what did the Hawaiian people, what did they do to the Hawaiian people? Phyllis, I saw Phyllis said.
What Hawaiian people?
It says
what the natives?
Yeah.
Just the same thing that I assume the same thing they did when they had the little skit talking about these are our hunting grounds. No, you used the wrong grammar. These were your hunting grounds.
Okay, same energy, got it.
That's what I assume.
Yeah.
We're acting like there weren't millions of people in America already.
Yeah, the way history present that shit, man, you would think this shit was an empty hallway. and Cass was just building infrastructure in just like it was just open lands. And just to find out that if you go back, damn, there were a lot of issues with all this quote unquote development and innovation.
Right. 100%. And I can continue the video, but I think ChatGPT is just taking a little sec. So let me, I don't know what they're going to say. So it says that slavery was the central issue. It was about slavery as an economic and political system. So while the South wanted slavery, the Southern economy obviously was built on slave labor, especially for cotton, which was extremely profitable. Just them as slaves were worth billions. While the North opposed it, the North was not united. It says the North was not united out of moral purity alone. So that was my feeling on it. The main reasons were economic competition, where slavery undercut free labor. So in the North, this makes sense now. Okay, able to use slave labor. So therefore, if you have to pay everybody that works for your business while somebody else doesn't have to pay, whose businesses are going to become more powerful?
The ones that ain't got to pay.
Right. So that's how it was, more like a political power, economic competition type of thing. But let me keep going. It says enslaved labor made it impossible for Northern workers to compete in new territories. Slave states wanted to expand slavery westward. That would give them more seats in Congress. See, that's the political part that I was talking about, the representation. Like if these people count as being representatives, if they count as citizens or if they count as people in America, then what does that do? What do we have with right now, our voting system? How does our voting system work right now? It doesn't just work based on, okay, the entire country just votes. No, we have different states get a certain amount of votes based on their representation.
Mm-hmm.
Slaves represented more of a greater representation for the people in the South than it from a political standpoint. You know, look at what I was referring to as the Electoral College. So now from a political standpoint, they have more power than they would as if you outlawed it, I guess what they're saying.
Okay. So they wanted to even the playing field with the South.
Yeah, they just didn't want the South becoming more powerful, I guess.
Gotcha.
You know, I guess it was just a power play. So that would give them more seats in Congress. Hold on. Slaves wanted to expand slavery. The slave states wanted that would give them more seats in Congress. The North wanted to stop slavery's expansion, not initially abolish it everywhere. So they just wanted to stop it from expanding, not necessarily abolish it everywhere. So I guess the main issue that if I'm reading it correctly, is that it was more about, hey, we don't want these new states coming into our country as slave states because that's going to give you more representation than it gives us in the North that are non-slave states. So hopefully I'm wording that correctly. I haven't gone through this. The North was not united out of more. Why the North opposed slavery? Slave states wanted to expand slavery. That would give them more seats in Congress. All right, so different economic systems. The North, more industrial wage labor cities. The South, agrarian, plantation-based slave labor. These systems were incompatible long-term. So the moral opposition was real, but not universal. Abolitionists existed and were influential, but many Northerners opposed slavery because they didn't want slavery spreading. Free white labor displaced. So even with free white labor displaced, political dominance by slaveholders. So even I never looked at it from that standpoint. You know, that's kind of what we feel right now, where a lot of Americans don't want to bring in people, where the businesses, they want to bring in the labor because it's more affordable for them. But a lot of Americans are sitting here like, yeah, but it's taking jobs away from us. So there's a lot of intricacies in it rather than it just being like, oh, this is just a moral issue. So, but it seems like Grover was definitely on that. That's why I want to look more into him because the reasons that he gave seem to be just from a moral standpoint, where it's against what a lot of the argument that we were having in the beginning of the show yesterday, this whole might is right. Well, we should just take it. Somebody else going to take it, so we'll take it. That apparently Grover Cleveland was not on that.
Islands, and they're asking the United States to annex them. But the President of the United States said no. He believed that America must be a just and law-abiding nation that never misuses its great power to take advantage of the weak. But others feared that if America didn't get involved in the affairs of Hawaii, another great power like Germany or Japan would come and take the islands and use them as a base to attack America in a future war. Should America mind its own business, or should it mind its own interests? America's policy of staying out of other nations' conflicts was about to be tested because something was brewing in Cuba, and it wasn't coffee. Cuba was in the middle of a war for independence. Almost all of Spain's other colonies had already won their independence from Spain after the American and French revolutions. But Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines were still colonies of Spain. The Cuban War for Independence.
You want to address that? Because Romulus hit on a great point.
Yeah, Romulus, shout out to you, man. Appreciate that support. Okay, so 3/5 compromise is like counting illegals for representation.
Yeah. So that was the compromise that slaves, you
3/5 of a human,
the whole person.
Yeah.
And it was just a representation thing. So that was the compromise. Like, okay, well, rather than y'all getting full representation, you know what I'm saying? We'll just give y'all 3/5. That'll be the compromise.
Gotcha. So yeah, it was a power play.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Colonies had already won.
And thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Super chat, brother.
Appreciate it.
Their independence from Spain after the American and French revolutions. But Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines were still colonies of Spain. The Cuban War for Independence was constantly in American newspapers, and most Americans sympathized with the revolutionaries. In 1898, after an American warship sank in a mysterious explosion, the US told Spain to leave Cuba or else. Spain responded by declaring war on the United States. Then the US quickly captured Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, effectively bringing an end to what remained of the Spanish Empire that Christopher Columbus had begun. During the Spanish-American War, the US also annexed Hawaii, which was becoming an important naval base. After the war, the president was shot, and so the young and energetic Theodore Roosevelt unexpectedly became president.
Hey, Columbia, we want to build a canal right here. Sure, just pay us $10 million. It's a deal. Actually, we changed our mind. You can't build a canal. What? But we made a deal. Sorry. Hey, Panama, welcome to the Club of Countries. We want to build a canal right here. Sure, go ahead.
While Roosevelt was president, he built up the second largest navy in the world and used this powerful navy to influence global politics. The Americans finished building the Panama Canal in 1914, allowing the powerful US Navy to quickly move between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. America had become a world power, and World War I had just begun. If you want me to make more videos like this, please subscribe to let me know, and be sure to watch the next video.
I love videos like this because they break it down so quickly
and simple too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Panama Canal?
No, and when they just showed that, I was like, "Damn!" I didn't even realize like that's how.
Yeah, it's a pretty like innovative little. It's like some innovative shit. I don't know how they ran that place so early, in time, but it's just like so. It's just genius how they were able to build that. Like you see that first video.
This one, should I watch this one?
Yeah.
Why does...
Sorry. So this is just built through land.
Isn't that wild?
Hold up. So, nah, I ain't gonna ask these questions, man.
What?
Oh, so this was built through land.
Yeah. I think it's built through land. Because isn't that where when a lot of people got sick and got like malaria and died from like mosquitoes and things of that stuff?
It would make sense. I can't even answer that accurately. I don't know. Yeah,
I could be wrong, but yeah, if that's gonna show you exactly how that shit worked, where it's just such a fascinating concept.
Hold on.
5 feet above sea level, using a brilliant 3-step lock system that's like a giant water elevator. The Panama Canal connects 2 oceans at different heights, so massive chambers fill with 26 million gallons of water to raise ships, then drain to lower them. Each lock gate weighs 750 tons, but floats on water, making them surprisingly easy to operate. This engineering marvel moves 14,000 ships annually through what's essentially the world's most expensive shortcut, saving vessels an 8,000-mile journey around South America. Ships get lifted 85 feet above.
Damn,
so it
bro.
basically, it's like one is like this and one is like this.
Oh, let me
And-
see. Go ahead. Yeah. And then it just.
And then when you need to go this way or this way, it will either drop the channels of water so you can go, and the other one will raise the channel so you can go.
Yo, that's interesting, man.
That shit is that shit is crazy. I never thought of that because growing up, I always just thought the Panama Canal was like, when you just think of a canal, you're like, all right, cool, just like a cut through, like a little small joint they can slide through. I didn't know there was innovation involved in the joint. And I'm like, yo, that is some interesting shit. How the fuck they even thought that time. And then John's funny. He said, white folks wasn't digging or dredging, none of that shit. We know who was out there. Don't let these pictures fool y'all niggas. But yeah, that shit is super interesting how they were able to, put that engineering together so early. And we still use that shit today.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
It's impressive.
Oh, what year was that created? Hold on.
Yeah, look at. I'm not actually sure.
I want to know what year. I know they just say it on the video, but I got it right here. Hold on. So John said they got that system in Michigan
too. Oh.
Before construction began, and it opened 1914, August 15th, 1914.
1914. These motherfuckers smart, bro.
Yo, they had to dig through the rock and create this system, create a man-made lake that can create this. Wow.
When humans lock in,
yeah,
ain't no stopping, bro.
Yeah.
When humans lock in and get off of the dumb shit and really be forcing like innovation and leaning into engineering and science, and they get off of the goofy topics that got everybody going back and forth.
Yeah.
Smart shit, bro. Humans are unbelievable capabilities once they realize they're not in captivity mentally.
Yeah. Speaking of mental captivity, so this was an interesting clip. I just thought about it as you're talking, where this teacher turned cognitive scientist shared a disturbing reality, which that our kids are, for the first time, I think this is where our kids, the next generation, is less cognitively capable than we were at their age. So it's an interesting video to take a look at. I don't know if people are paying attention to this. I'm not even sure that it's that surprising, but I just don't think that it's something that we focus on a lot, where this can be scary, when we talk about exactly what you just said, but it's the cycle, I guess.
Yeah,
hard times create strong. Yeah. So I guess it's even difficult mental times create more intelligent or more cognitively functioning. But then when you have a generation that perhaps wasn't forced to develop from a cognitive level, maybe like previous generations, now we have these issues. So it's just another example of how things work in cycles. But let me share this with you and get your thoughts. And then we're going to go into a video. I'm not sure if you heard Glay earlier, where this pastor, Joel Webbin, he's actually the one, Nick Fuentes, we're going to get into a little bit of the conversation around that, where he's calling out Black churches and saying that the majority of the ones that he sees aren't necessarily aligned with true Christian principles. So we're going to get into that as well. Perhaps.
And that's what they're calling right now is Christian. I've been seeing this trend, but it's been called Christian nationalism.
Christian nationalism. Yeah, that's like what Nick Fuentes is pushing. To me, it's a term that just doesn't make sense, because like how I look at Christianity is being bigger than just a nation. I think that when you're relating Christianity to a nation, then like you're kind of downplaying the importance of God. Like I don't think God would just be here to just look out for one nation, compared to looking out for things on a global scale. But a lot of people have been pushing that narrative. A lot of people have been pushing it.
Horvath, I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Since we've been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents. And that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids.
Not this one.
And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention, to memory, to literacy, to numeracy, to executive functioning, to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled school?
Yeah.
Live stream got to do better, bro.
Yeah, that's why OBS,
bro. Get it together, bro.
That's why the OBS play.
Even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning.
100% agree.
Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries.
But then it makes sense, because what do you see raising the kids? Like, what do parents give the babies when they still in their development process? It's, oh, take the iPad.
I might have missed the beginning. Like, you ran the whole 1 minute and 31 seconds?
I think so. I'll run it back, though. I'll run it back.
Horvath, I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Since we've been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents. And that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids.
Not this one.
And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation.
You heard that in the background? You heard that in the background? Not this one?
I thought that was you.
But then I saw the words underneath and I was like, oh no, somebody must be a part of the video, wrote that.
I thought that was you, nigga.
It definitely wasn't, because I was like, did Glay just say that? But then I saw it on the screen. Let's keep going.
I'm in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention, to memory, to literacy, to numeracy, to executive functioning, to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning.
100% agree.
Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the technology, bro.
It's like
us down.
Yeah, I get it. It's unfortunate. I mean, I think we're in a very sweet spot because we are in between both.
Yeah.
Like we understand the technology, but our foundational and our principles were zero technology. So it's just like we kind of can understand the best of both worlds, and really like we understand like the fundamentals of quote unquote like working hard and going against, doing what you know to do and earning your spot, et cetera, in having to memorization and the scrutiny with testing and all that other stresses. But then at the same time, we've been able to adopt what the world is now, which is there is ChatGPT, innovation, all these things. So we're a lot more appreciative of what it is now because we can reference what it was before. If you didn't understand what the Louisiana Purchase was, you was going to have to do some digging to find that out. And so we understand both sides, and because we've seen technology step into this role versus grew up with technology and we expected. We didn't grow up with iPads. iPhones came out when me and you was in fucking college. So before then, dog, you was on the computer, you was an encyclopedia. My dad used to make me read the encyclopedia, the thesaurus, like books, reading. It's like there was no internet. You couldn't even get on the internet if your mom was on the phone with her homegirl. And then now look at this. Shit switched up. Now it's just like, now you on the internet on the phone with your homegirl on your cell phone in the car riding with your friends. So it's just like, damn, shit really shit changed a lot in a little bit of fucking time. And so
Did
like
it freeze a little bit?
Yeah, you're frozen, but I can hear you. Okay, now you back good. Okay, yeah.
That's the truth, bro. And I guess it's like anything else, man. Anything else where we're not interacting with people as much. Even from, and what scares me when I hear like cognitive, like I always think about the soft skills of kids. You know, they don't have those soft skills. They're not communicating as much. Things are more text messaging. Things like every aspect of it. You know, people don't speak. Like how do I say this? Like I know, people have conversations. People's best friends, ChatGPT.
Yep.
People having conversations about ChatGPT about what decisions they need to be making in their life. Yeah, and it's just something that we do. It's something that our generation do. We'll take a screenshot. We have the ability to take a screenshot, put it in the ChatGPT, and say, "Yo, what should I send this girl back? Here are my intentions. What should I write back?"
This shit a cheat code, my nigga.
It's like, wait, what? Well, if this is what you want, if this is what you're looking for, then write this. It's like that's how we're operating right now. We are not free thinking, and it's the harder thing to do. It's like, well, hey, imagine what they used to say before, like when you become dependent on calculators, like calculators. Yeah. Like we way beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're way past that.
That's out the window now.
But what's just so crazy, we grew up in the generation where if you ask me mathematical math and division, I can just spit that shit out. That's regular. But if you think about the next generation, nigga, they grew up with that shit. Bro, it used to be a luxury to be able to bring one of them big ass calculators, those IT, whatever.
The graphing calculator.
And bring that joint to a test. You thought you basically got the cheat code when they started letting that shit slide. But before then, dog, all the math was on your fingers and your head. And so now these cats, nigga, they writing papers with. I remember writing a 15-page paper at William & Mary about Thomas Jefferson and about Madagascar, and Mauritius in these like small little areas with what like the communities, the religions, the people, like 15 pages. Yeah. Bro, if I had ChatGPT back then.
Yeah. I mean, shoot. All of these, oh man.
You thought I was grinding then.
But it was spelling.
Oh,
like little things, like we just don't even think of it.
Don't even think it. Autocorrect.
Like, think of it.
Autocorrect.
And we may be setting up ourselves for some sort of destruction, man. We are responsible for making sure we challenge our kids in the next generation to be as good as us and hopefully better.
Yeah. And the
you
kids,
know what I mean?
And the kids that keep
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and the kids that keep that principle, like we grew up because we were in between, the kids that keep those principles consistent are gonna be the ones that can easily now stand out amongst the world that lazy parenting would promote the innovation. But there are certain like old school people that just don't be off that. And so we're in between both. Our parents are old school, so they don't really fuck with technology at all. But then we're kind of like the newer school where it's like, you ain't got to do it like that no more. And then, but when with our kids, we're like, I know what my dad was on. I know what I was on. I've seen both sides. Let me tell you the one that you need. I'm gonna make you earn it with your hands and your feet, but then I'm gonna show you the faster way to do it too. So you not only have the knowledge of how to do it if the calculator doesn't exist, but in the world where speed, accessibility, things of that nature, I'm still going to teach you how to use the calculator. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to teach you, et cetera, et cetera. So it allows them to really be able to pull weapons out. And I tell you, the superpower to the things that I've been able to be successful at, to the things I've been able to achieve, have never become because of intelligence. I feel like personally I've always won because I just got more grit than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much technology exists. Most people will give up when they start to become frustrated, when they don't get the answer that they want, or they don't get the results that they want, or life isn't going the way that they want, and they gonna fold. Nigga, I love that shit because I'm gonna go till I can't stop, and I'm gonna naturally be able to be more successful, even if it takes me 50 years. I know I'm gonna make it, but you gonna give up. And I know it don't matter what technology around, it don't change who you are. You can't hide behind chat. You can't hide behind networking. You can't hide behind relationships. You can't hide behind rapport building, picking up the phone call, staying tapped in, doing your research, studying. Like, these are the type of things, even through all this innovation and technology, these companies or these people, these entrepreneurs, they can't get rid of that. No matter how easy, it don't matter what AI do. At the end of the day, what is the number one thing that companies say that is the most difficult thing to find? Hard workers.
Mm-hmm.
So you can lean on innovation, but there's a point where everybody has the same ChatGPT you got. So how the fuck do you separate yourself? How do you stand out, nigga, if we all got accessibility? How long are you willing to stay up at night to make sure that you're successful? How long are you willing to lock in, stay down until you figure it out? And when you're in this popcorn, quick gratification, get it quicker here, we're not accustomed to that. So we didn't get, most of our dreams didn't happen until our late 20s, 30s. Some of us still chasing our dreams, and we going into our 40s. Bro, we don't know instant gratification about none of that. We don't even expect that. To be honest, if it comes too quick, I don't even believe it. I believe something wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're trained for the long run, we're trained for the long distance running, and you train for the 100 meter, it's no question once you make your one lap, you fold and you on the side, and you looking up like, damn, he may not be running full speed, but that nigga ain't stopped running yet. And then you look up, and to me is what life has shown me in my little bit of time here, is that, like, it don't matter what fancy gadgets, where you from, what your parents put you in, what they pull up in, what they got, what phone you riding in, what drip you wearing, what J's on your feet. If you ain't got that fucking dog in you, I don't give a fuck what you got as far as technology. You not gonna beat me. You gonna get tired.
That's your competitive advantage.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can instill that in children, where they know it doesn't matter if he's faster than me, smarter than me, bigger than me, taller than me, has access to tutors and all this stuff, if you just got more dog than him, he gonna fold.
Mm-hmm. And think about what that also leads you to. You're opening up every single door. So now just because you're willing to go out there and get it in a way that somebody else isn't willing, now you're developing from all of these real world experiences.
Yeah.
You're failing. Okay, good. I learned a lesson. Okay, now I know. Okay, let's go over here. Let's not that. You're not moving from a place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
People scared to try certain things, and then you're going to not learn certain things.
Yeah.
And even when you look at school overall, it's almost, it makes you wonder, should we even be sending our kids to public school? When you go back and look at like some of the things that I think it was the Rockefeller family that said, when they said, hey, we're not here, like we're not creating this board of ed to create thinkers. Like we're looking to create workers. Mm-hmm. So this was all, think about the power play that they did. They forced us to pay taxes that pay for the teachers that are going to condition the kids to see the world from a particular way, indoctrinate them with a particular style of teaching that makes them good workers. So now you're paying for your kids to train for working for us eventually. Like, that's how this whole thing works. The
Bro.
Rockefellers, they know that they control all the businesses. The elites, they're the ones that have the businesses that are looking for people to hire. So now they've created a system where your tax dollars have to go towards paying for schools that can have teachers that your kids are going to be sent to, because the majority of us don't want to pay out of pocket for education, and we need a babysitter. So we send them to the school. Now they're getting trained not to develop as human beings, but to simply become better workers, to understand how to follow directions, how to follow a schedule, how to deliver on certain things that the teacher tells you to do. You get what I'm saying? It's just a very interesting mindset looking at it.
Wow.
And it almost makes you go back to, you know, perhaps a lot of this is the same kind of conversation. I think healthcare is a little bit different, but if we just stay focused on this, it makes you wonder, give me my tax money back. And then I'll pay for whoever I want to tutor my kid, to teach my kid. And it almost makes you wonder, like, why can't we have this village concept where, okay, we got all these families. Give me our tax money. We'll teach our kids what we want to develop, because even though we may think that our kids may be losing certain things, I think the things that they'll lose are mostly on social things, like with college, learning how to operate, learning how to develop people skills. But I don't need Pythagorean theorem. I don't need half of this stuff. And the history isn't taught to us in an interesting way to where we even remember it.
Or is it true?
Yeah, the math isn't taught in a way, well, if I take this train from this station, if this train leaves this station at this time, bro, I need to understand taxes. I need to understand
math,
how to, develop a trust. I need to understand, like, whether term life is better than whole life insurance. Like, I need to understand math from that standpoint, not all this other BS that you're teaching me. You're just wasting my time teaching me how to become a better worker. You're conditioning me. You're not teaching me. So should we pull the kids out of the school and the parents just say, okay, 2 parents each day, they handle the educational lesson. So you got a parent teaching on Monday or a parent teaching on Tuesday. So maybe your work schedule, instead of being Monday through Friday because everybody does the same thing, no, your work schedule may be Tuesday through Saturday because you teach on Monday. Or if you teach on Tuesday, your schedule may be Wednesday, Thursday. You get what I'm saying? I think it's just a different way of looking at things that I think will actually benefit the children, rather than us just being lazy in our development and just throwing our kids to the school system and relying on them.
And that's exactly when we talked about scholastic disposition. That's exactly what their approach they take. They would never, if there's any definition of treason to the elites, is sending my children to anything that has the word public in front of it. Because if the masses can go, I don't want my kids to know. If the masses can go, we don't want to go. If they can get in the line, they're not going there. We do not want to be around where the elites are at, or we don't want to be around where public can attend the things we can, because what's up for debate now when it's public? Well, where's the money going? Is there safety? Is there consistency? Is there passion? Are they being treated accordingly so that they take it personal when they're teaching to begin with? It's too many times that when somebody puts the term public in front of it, we almost have like an expectation that it's going to be some subpar shit that we're dealing with.
Yeah, agreed.
As soon as you heard the term public, who's responsible for the road? Oh, public. Oh, okay. What school did he go to? He go to public school. Oh, okay. Like, you just expect it to be some bullshit full of people that aren't passionate or care about any of the things that's going on. And so when we see the elites not associated with quote unquote public, some people will take that as offensively, like, who do they think they are? And then the real question should be, nigga, who do you think you are? The onus is on you. You can't afford to subject your children to what they are willing to give them. Look at the food. Nigga, before we get on to education, look at the lunch menu. Look at the Fruitopia. Look at the cinnamon buns
menu. This can't be something good. If you look at the lunch menu of what they're feeding the kids nutritionally, what makes you think that they're feeding the kids anything better from an educational standpoint?
Period.
Look what they're feeding the kids. Look at what
Nasty.
they're providing the kids from a nutrition standpoint. And then you just think that, oh, yeah, well, yeah, they may feed the kids BS nutrition, but when it comes to education, this is something that actually is beneficial.
Makes no logical fucking sense.
I don't want the school lunch, bro. Mom, thank you for making me a sandwich every day.
Yes, my mom too. I remember that. And you know, I always saw the kids, and it was certain group of kids. Okay. It was a certain group of kids that was coming in there with that fucking lunchbox. And I peeped that shit. I said, damn, your mom got enough time to make you a fucking lunch. You got the sandwich, nigga. You got the orange juice. You got the yogurt, nigga. The milk, like with like the A2, D2 milk. Like, nigga, y'all tap in. She do that shit every day. I said, damn. And then I'm looking at who's in line for lunch. School lunch.
That mystery meat.
Okay, with the pizzas in the chocolate milk.
Leo pizzas, them weak ass pizzas.
Pizza, chocolate milk, a fruit bowl, and you make like some coleslaw. Go sit your ass down. Then y'all got the audacity to charge for that shit. Y'all had the audacity to charge for that shit. Then y'all had the audacity to not even give kids food if they didn't pay. I remember there a couple times my account the balance hit zero. I ain't have it. Nigga, they wasn't feeding me. I remember times niggas had to pop out and be like, I got them. Put the code in, pay for my lunch. Because we ain't have it. Or my dad he forgot, or he got to wait till the next paycheck. So I'm like, y'all not even giving this dog food away? Then you catch a couple lunch ladies. They operating with their heart. They just go ahead, go. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they know better than this shit, bro. But when you say what you're saying, the Rockefellers, the systems, et cetera, nigga, if I go to my school, my child's school, and I see the lunch look like it's some bullshit, it looks like a prison. It's in trays. I'm out of there. Out of there. Homeschool it is. Let's rally. Hey, neighborhood. I want to start a homeschool. How about we rent a 1-bedroom in the neighborhood, or we rent a specific place? We change, living rooms every month, and then we are going to teach our kids Monday through Friday. We'll pay for a private instructor. We'll all put in, and we're going to have our teachers small group teaching, homeschool, and then they can switch locations, et cetera, et cetera. And as far as food and lunch, let's go ahead and contribute to a neighborhood fund where we go ahead and decide to do a meal prep beforehand, and all the kids will have lunch, and it will be packaged, it'll be delivered, and they bring their lunch, and we'll heat it up in the microwave. They can have time to eat. I've got a nice backyard. They can have a little exercise, stuff like that, and then boom, come back in. I'm not letting these people get a hold of my kids. The fuck? So they can go up there and go back and forth with Joanna or Jonna, who want to fight, and this one want to throw up sets, and he want to be in the. Nah, I'm good. I ain't got time for that, because y'all niggas ain't even gonna touch no bread. Fuck out my face. I ain't got no time for that. That shit is no bullshit. So it's just like, you be really wondering, like, damn, like, I'm gonna be honest. I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic area. I seen Hispanics not give a fuck about education when I was coming up, right? And I love this for that. They didn't give a fuck about school. But you know what they did give a fuck about? When them kids turned 18, 17, they did enough to graduate because it was illegal to not go to school. They hit the turf at 18.
Mm-hmm.
These niggas own all the welding, all the roofing, all the painting. It's their businesses. Their wives stay at home. Their wives don't even go to work. He be in the field. And I'm like, damn, here I am prioritizing education, trying to go to college, do all this stuff. And at the end of the day, when my plumbing fuck up, hey, bro, can you help me out? Bet $1,500.
Ain't no negotiating. No, ain't no negotiating. That's the price is the price.
It said $1,500. A la verga, way. I'm like, oh shit. All right, $1,500 it is. I'm getting taxed. So who really winning? Who really got scammed?
Yeah. We look at stuff backwards, bro.
Backwards as fuck, bro.
Even with the lunch, I can remember I got to a certain age because my mom made me lunch every single day, probably until I got to middle school when I told her, like, nah, I'm just gonna buy lunch. Probably because you low key, that was always seen as a little bit more cool and more grown.
Yeah, like you get in line, y'all cracking jokes and shit. Yeah.
And then me with my lunchbox and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? You get
Corny
to a point,
niggas.
nah, ma, I can't have no, you know what I'm saying? I wish she would have, maybe give me a little brown bag or something. We figure, but now if I could go back, man, think about how, with the difference between all the BS processed foods or just the grade of quality of those foods that kids are eating from what, 5 years old, 4 years old?
Yeah.
Till you 18?
Bro.
That's the majority of a lot of kids' meals, bro.
And then we wonder why they have a problem with high blood pressure. We wonder why they eat their entire plate every meal. We wonder why they don't have a good, healthy relationship with nutrition. We wonder why they can't lose X and Y and Z. Like, bro, it's ingrained into their head. They never had a good relationship with food. Mom and dad was at work. They don't know what organic. They don't care. And so it's so sad. And I like what Dutch said. If my tax dollars went to buying, no, it was good. Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the other one that I pulled up. My fault.
Oh no, you're good. If my I put it up.
Okay, there you go.
And I like what you said, Dutch. If my tax dollars went to buying kids organic lunches for free at school, I might be okay with these fucking taxes.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem.
Going to. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Bro, the amount of taxes that some towns are paying, even growing up, like, bro, I grew up in a very good school system.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where people were paying a lot of taxes. And when you look at that food,
That's who pocketing this shit?
We can't. Matter of fact, what is more important when sending your kids to school? The education or the nutrition? Even from that standpoint, which is more important? But do we pay attention to it? Do we call it out? Matter of fact, if I'm paying tax dollars for school, why is anybody even paying for lunch? If I'm already paying for the teacher salaries. If I'm a home, you know what I'm saying? If I'm paying taxes in that town,
and y'all already ain't paying them,
so it's like, this food should already be something that's taken care of. That's how I see it. Or lower these taxes. Let us have our own schools. You know what I'm saying? You pay you pay whoever you want. You figure out how to raise your child within your village how you deem best.
Yeah.
Rather than being forced to pay taxes. Taxation without nutrition. What's the taxation without representation? Taxation without proper nutrition, bro, is tyranny, bro.
It's crazy work.
We ain't rocking with it, bro.
That's crazy work. That's crazy work to be able to and make that normal. Like, that is the norm. Like, people don't even bat an eye. Like, take your ass to school and you know they eating X, Y, and Z. This shit is, when you really talk about it, and we went through that experience, and I don't know what it was before, but when we really seeing this shit, why the fuck did nobody turn the fuck up when we was younger?
We got to build a school.
There's no other option. Why didn't somebody light this shit on fire? Because I'd be damned if I'm just going to have my kid eating spaghetti with mystery meat, honey buns, and then go sit up in a class all day with a teacher who don't want to be there at a desk like they in a cell. But you know who don't do that? The elites.
Well, let's break it down even.
Okay. Well, are you calling them elite? Go ahead.
Very elite.
Get in your bag.
I know when I look at these Jewish schools, these Jewish day schools and stuff like that, I'm telling you, bro, they live in towns where they'll pay a high amount of taxes, like a Montclair, and be sending kids to private schools that may or may not even be in Montclair. But that's the investment that certain cultures, and it's not even just the willing investment, it's the understanding. They understand the system better. So if ignorance was an excuse before, we can't continue to do this.
We can't
We're
keep
now
saying
seeing the results. We just saw the video earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, we see the results where the school system, okay, we thought that the right path was college. I can understand that 50 years ago or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I understand how that was being the mindset. Hey, you got to go get an education. You got to go to college. You don't want to work in a factory your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the people that were working in factories back in the day, like you said, wives not even working. They got 2 cars, nice crib, living a middle class life. And
Yeah,
it's like,
good, healthy middle class life.
Now we go and get these degrees. We already coming out in debt, the majority of us, unless you had school paid for you. You're owing money. And now you can't even get a job that even allows you to pay the money. You got to take 30 years just to pay money back from a 4-year investment of, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah.
Why are you paying taxes? Why are you paying taxes again?
Why are public colleges? Why we got to pay for public colleges? Where's the tax money going towards? That's what I need a breakdown of. And maybe we need to, they want to audit individuals. Go audit the government. Go audit where our tax dollars are going to. Go audit how we're even 34 whatever trillion in debt. Like my town right now, they're going through it because they lost like $10 million. So the school system is getting ready to be taken over unless they can raise the money. I mean, I think it may even be more money than that, but unless they can raise it, there's going to get taken over by the state. So here you have Montclair, which is known as being, and probably now is even, I would even argue it's like with all the gentrification and stuff, people are getting priced out. You got a lot of people with big money moving in. I would expect that's more tax dollars that they're now able to collect. You know what I'm saying? So you would expect a better system, a better school system. It doesn't work like that, bro. It just doesn't work like that. There has to be accountability, bro, because if not, we just spending our tax dollars. It's like we forget that it's supposed to go towards, oh, Maya wrote 20 million. So my mom must have told her that it's actually 20 million. 20 million, how you lose $20 million, Clay? It's just unaccounted for. And then the whole goofiness of it when you look into the story. I should have played the story on here, but the story is the lady, she was coming from a neighboring town and committed some BS over there, but then got hired in a position in Montclair to trick off the money again. And then I think after Montclair, that was just a good resume thing for her. Then she got an even better job with like the state or something crazy like this. So it's just, there's zero accountability with this stuff. We don't hold people accountable.
Private school, y'all, is the only way.
Yeah, private school, bro. Private school. That's why I don't believe in any of this stuff. I don't want to pay for healthcare. I don't want to pay for school. Bro, if I get injured, I'll go, just like if I need to go buy food, then I'll go pay to go have a procedure. And then it'll maybe allow, with all insurance taking their cut and all that, maybe it'll allow actual healthcare to be more affordable and be more caring to where now doctors don't have to spend as much to just do advertisements. Now Google's getting all the money. So now we got to spend. It's all just a scam, bro. It's a scam, bro.
It's just like the car insurance. Think about car insurance. So you pay $100, $150, $200 a month to get in maybe 2 accidents your entire life. But we're required to have it. And you're like, damn, nigga.
Damn, they're extorting us.
The extortion is wild. You make it a law that I need to have it. You charge me based on the color of my car, what town or area I'm in. And then when I do get in a wreck, whether it's my fault or not, you force me to pay for you to pay for my accident.
Yeah.
You charge me a $500 deductible or $1,000 deductible for you to invest in what basically you're fixing my car is what I've been paying for you to fix my car anyway. It's just wild. But you know what other cultures don't operate that? I was looking at the Asian culture, Glay. They don't operate like this. These school systems that we see that look like prisons. And think about it. Did you know that the Rockefellers also created the HBCU?
Talk about it.
Okay, Rockefeller, especially down here, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta, and I forgot the other one. It might have been Morris Brown. those are all historically black colleges, some of the top tier colleges at that. And they were all started by Rockefellers. They put it in his wife's name. So if you look at the cafeteria, it's named after his wife. These niggas said, oh, nah, we going to tap in with that community too.
We're going to control everything. We control everything.
Were the Rockefellers Jewish?
It's the same thing with the NAACP, bro. Everything that is presented as for black people is created, ran by white people. And that's not a shot at white people.
Yeah.
That's a shot at everybody else for getting on board with this stuff. The same thing when it comes to the education system. Just because they present a system to us doesn't mean that we have to actually just accept it and just put our kids, okay, y'all get on the hamster wheel, y'all get in line with everybody else. No, it doesn't have to be that way. But we're just conditioned. We're conditioned because, and you weren't here earlier when we were talking about it starting off the show, because all of the comfort usually comes with a negative. Like the things that we're supposed to be doing positive, think about what we're talking about. Oh, well, we should develop our own schools. We need to do this, do this. Well, that takes work. That takes doing something different than what we're accustomed to. So what do we want? We want the comfort. So therefore, yeah, just send the kids to public school. Just send the kids, just do this. This is the system. No, bring the kids to work with you. That's one of the most important parts of perhaps owning a business or having a business. Now you can bring your kids to work with you. Now they're learning your business. Mm-hmm. You don't have to rely on babysitting. It's your job. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. You can bring anybody on your board you want. Mm-hmm. So it's yeah.
I think we need to have a one episode. We need to definitely. I think if we dug into all these staple feeder system things that exist that like most people just naturally overlook, me included, and then come up with like the mental approach, because when you start to see the people that are in the higher brackets of success, monetary gain, and the elites, et cetera, you start to realize that what you always called bougie, or what you called, oh, they thought they was better than y'all, you start to realize that it wasn't anything like that to begin with. It wasn't these people thought they were better than you. It's that these people wanted better for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may have took offense to somebody wanting to provide themselves better than you may be willing to take for yourself. And we're seeing the impact that it's having on children. And we're watching the elite continue to pass down generation of wealth and entrepreneurship. Like some of these kids grow up and they will never call anybody their boss. They will never, ever, ever call anybody boss. They will never see a check that doesn't have their dad's or mom's or family company on the bottom right. There are some people that will actually grow up and never have to experience that. And we know how it seems. I'm not saying having a boss, like we too good for that, but in situations, 90% of the time when you're dealing with somebody who's your boss, they don't have your best interest. They have their best interest. And so that's what makes it.
You're a tool.
You're a tool.
Being used, and there's nothing, and we're not saying there's anything wrong with that. We're just saying that there are a lot of other advantages that we may not always be seeing and noticing that come with, especially if you have the capabilities. If you one of those people in your family that you know, like, yo, I can be the one that creates a family business, then you got to act on that. You got to act on that, because you could be setting your family up for success, health, all these different things that factor into us either going down this path or us going down this path. Like those are two completely different paths. This is the system. I guess this is the whole red pill, blue pill. I don't know if it touches on this type of stuff. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with that, but like, it's just the path, the path that's least chosen, bro. A lot of times that's the one that's going to benefit the family the most overall and set us up for success. That may be it may bring us some comfort, and I don't want to say things are easier, but it may set us up for a different type of success where we're able to invest in something that we own rather than always working and investing in somebody else's business. There's a reason why they give you 401k or retirement. Any business, they have to pay somebody less than the actual value that they're given, because other than that, they would just break even. So if you work for somebody else, just naturally, whatever you're getting paid, it's less than the value that you're actually giving the business. That's the only way that they make money. That's how they have a profit margin. It just naturally works like that. Mama Lay just sent this over. I thought this is interesting.
Oh yeah, have you read about the Rothschilds?
I'm not too familiar with the Rothschilds, but they've actually mentioned. Look at your boy down there. I guess that's who they talking about, Napoleon. I don't know if they wrote it correctly, but this is some post. Yeah,
my family is worth fighting. Show we own nearly every central bank. Yeah, they're from the banking system. I did I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube a while back. We finance both sides of every major war since Napoleon. We own your news.
Oh shoot, sorry about that, Glay. I definitely just hold up.
We own your news. We own your media, your oil, your government. You're probably never heard of me. Yeah. That's definitely it. Yep, I read about them. They started in the bro.
We know what's going on. At the end of the day, we know what's going on.
We know what's going on, man.
Yeah, Glad you got I got a meeting in a few minutes. You got the
I got it. Yeah,
I appreciate you
for sure. I don't know if you cap or not. So everybody close it.
Got a meeting.
Okay. All right. So everybody close your eyes. You know, shout out to Big Steve for putting this on with the 4-count breathing. Supposed to relax your mind, your body, your soul. So if you're in a safe place, close your eyes. If you're not, keep your hand on the trigger. All right. So close your eyes. Big deep breath in. Hold. Breathe out. Pause. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. All right. Big deep breath in. Come on, Glenn. Breathe out. Forgot to hold my breath. All right, last one, the biggest one, the biggest. All right, breathe in. Big deep breath. Big. All right, hold. And this is the biggest one. Breathe out all the way. All right, man. Great discussion, man. You know what we came here to do. We came here to elevate on purpose. We know that's all I got.
Keep going, Glay.
That's all I know. I gotta memorize what you say.
All right, let's hold on. I want to get some. Usually, we rely on the team for them wise words at the end. So there's several big families out there that control the monetary system.
Oh, my bad, Glay.
Yeah, you good. But yeah, no, that wasn't. Yeah, I'm with you, big bro, Steve. There are several of those families. 100%. Hold on, my fault. That was Glay. That wasn't me. I'm snitching. We've been needing action, Dutch. This is why I enjoy the show. Time to wake up. Steve wrote, there are several big families out there that control the monetary systems of most countries around the world. Yeah, man. Shout out to Gaddafi. We need to explore. Well, we've kind of already looked into that, but yeah. Shout out to Finn. Stop being a fan of people. People fail, change, and disappoint. Principles don't. Identify with your values, not personalities. Yes, man. Yes. Yeah, I'm good, man. Y'all know we come here to do. Let's elevate, be intentional, challenge yourself to become the best leader you can become, to grow and develop into the person you need to develop into in order to set after these goals that we know are challenging, but we're built for it. We're built for it. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's get to that bag. Make sure we're on the right trajectory to making that impact on the world that we like to call our personal legend. So let's live in purpose. Let's strive for purposeful abundance and figure out what you want to focus on. When we talk about aligning with those principles and walking by faith and walking by principles, establish what those principles are for you. What makes sense? What makes sense for the life that you want to create for you and yours? So the things that I like to focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. Always got to add that balance in there. Glay, hit them with the perspective. Got to have that perspective in there. So on that note, Hold up. We got one more from Finn and then we'll wrap up. There's no excuse for delaying moral action. We have a responsibility to act with integrity, justice, and courage, emphasizing that every moment is an opportunity for positive change. Bro, hold up. We got to give Dutch, give Dutch the last word. The white community, black community, green community, red community, you know what they have in common? None of them exist. We all one, yo. Y'all know what we're striving for. Greater peace and humanity living in peace and harmony. And on that note, I shall see y'all soon. Glay, got any closing words?
No, that was good,
I
man.
want to get you to cam up again. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We shall see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have an amazing day, man. Do great things.